Ever since GTA Online launched in 2013, many new additions have been added into the map of GTA 5 Online, and today we will be looking at 30 of them. And if you do enjoy this video, please subscribe and leave a like. It greatly helps out my channel. It basically tells the YouTube algorithm that people like my videos, so we'll suggest it to more people, and let's get right into it. First up, we have, of course, the Diamond Casino. This did used to be a casino before, but you couldn't go inside of it, and it did look pretty old. Fun fact, when the Diamond Casino was being introduced, it actually did have some construction in the entrance. It had some wooden boards and like a crate. It looked like it was under construction for about a couple weeks before the casino launched. It really hyped up the launch and made it that much more special. And of course, everyone goes to the casino every day to spin the wheel and not win the car, but it's still cool, and it definitely was not there in 2013. Next up, we have Benny's Original Motorworks. It was kind of nothing. It wasn't even a garage back then, but Rockstar kind of just made it into a place where you could customize lowriders, and it's pretty cool. No one really goes to it anymore though, because a lot of garages, like the Office Garage, the Arena War, the Vinewood Car Garage, they all offer services to customize lowriders. I think the Avenger as well. But basically, this was a place to customize lowriders exclusively at one point, but now there's many places where you could change lowriders and customize them. So it's not really that exclusive anymore, but when it first came out, it was pretty cool, and before it was there, it was nothing. Next up, we have Simeon's. It was already in the game, but it was made available to enter only recently, and that's kind of where we're at now. It was there, and it was used in story mode for the first few missions until you drive a BJ through it, and that's the end of the contact you have with Simeon as Franklin. But Simeon's is pretty cool. You get some free snacks. You can check out the cars. The cars are exclusive to Simeon's as well. Some of the cars on sale there sometimes are not available on the websites. So if you ever want a car that isn't on sale, check Simeon's, check Luxury Autos. Next up, we have Luxury Autos. Basically the same concept as Simeon's, but Luxury Autos was not there originally. It was there, but it had two covered cars and you couldn't interact with it. Now you could interact with it, and it will have two cars on sale. Unfortunately, the cars on sale here usually are already available on the websites. Very rarely does a car go on sale here and it's exclusive to Luxury Autos. Luxury Autos usually only has stuff that is available already on Legendary Motorsports. It's kind of the place where Rockstar puts the newer cars, but overall it's pretty cool, and it wasn't there before, definitely not in 2013. Next up, we have the bunker. Now, the bunker is actually quite interesting because it adds a hatch to the world, and this hatch was not there on the original map, and it of course adds the unique interior. Some of these we'll get into later on do not add physical differences on the map. They only add interiors, but the bunker did add a physical difference on the map with the hatch and the interior, of course, which we all know and love. Next up, we have the facility. Similar to the bunker, it did also add hatches around the map. I believe 5 or 6 of them. And you can interact with it. It does, of course, have a unique interior, and it is pretty cool. We all use it occasionally to do the Doomsday Heist, and if you have done the Doomsday Heist, then you have been in here many times. It stores the Avengers, some cars, and it also stores the thruster. I think it's the only place where you can store the thruster, so that's quite interesting. Next up, we have the arena. The arena was always there before. We see the entrance of this interior in Fame or Shame, where Michael and Trevor go down, confront Laszlo, and Tracy's kind of throwing it back on camera, whatever. Chase them out, bada bing, bada boom, you're out, and they don't really show the actual arena portion of that, which we did see in GTA Online, although it is very you're obviously not meant to look into the crowd. You're supposed to focus on the arena itself, because if you look into a crowd, they straight up look like avatars from the original Wii. They kind of just bob up and down. They're very low poly. It's not very crisp or clean, but it doesn't really have to be, because that's not the main focus. But it was definitely not there in 2013. And of course, we have the arena workshop and the garages and all that good stuff. Next up, we have hangars. Hangars were not there since 2013. The actual physical property of hangars was there, but we only recently got hangars, somewhat recently, in Smuggler's Run. Definitely not in 2013. There were no hangars that you could enter like that. And hangars, of course, store aircraft. Is the only place where you could customize aircraft and change the color of them, add weapons and whatnot. So yeah, it's pretty unique in that matter, and nothing has come close to serving the same purpose as it has. Moving on to MC businesses, they did not add a physical difference on the map, but they did add a bunch of interiors all across the map, from the coke lockup to the weed farm to the counterfeit cash, the document forgery, and then the meth lab. Of course, they added interiors all across the map in Los Santos and Blaine County and Paleto Bay, everywhere across the map. But unfortunately, none of these businesses, to my knowledge, actually changed the physical building that they are in. All they changed was the interior, which is nice. It's nice to have interiors around the map, but it did not change the outside. Next up, we have warehouses. Warehouses, once again, were there. They did not change the actual physical location on the map, but it did add interiors. Unfortunately, you do get the same 3 interiors. You got the small interior, the medium, and then the large. The large is obviously the best because it can store the most crates, although you don't really need to have a bunch of large warehouses. It takes so long to fill up one. By the time you're done, you may as well just sell it. You don't really need to stack it like that, but regardless, they did add interiors, but they did not change the physical appearance on the map. Next up, we have the import-export warehouses. Similarly to the warehouses, it did not actually change the physical warehouse itself, but it did add a pretty cool interior that I actually really love. It has this underground portion where you could store these special cars for the missions, like the Wastelander, the Ruiner 2000, the Rocket Voltic, which was the fastest and pretty much the best car in the game at the time. No longer, unfortunately, due to power creep, but it is pretty cool, and unfortunately, it did not add a unique footprint on the map. Next up, we have the bail office, and I just hate bottom dollar bounties so much. The bail office just really didn't do all that much. It did add a tiny sign on the outside, and it is a pretty small footprint in the interior, but the actual outside didn't really change other than a sign. So technically it did, but not all that much. Next up, we have the nightclub. The nightclub only minimally changed on the outside. I think this was on purpose because the nightclubs in After Hours were supposed to be more low-key nightclubs, not really big, flashy, like Bahama Mamas or anything like that. They're supposed to be low-key nightclubs that, like, if you know, you know, because the nightclub, of course, does have an illegal operation side to it. But it did change the outside slightly, and of course came with a unique interior. Speaking of nightclubs, we have the Music Locker, which is basically the same as the nightclub. It does have its own place on the Diamond Casino property, but it does have a different interior to a standard nightclub as well. I actually prefer this interior because the dance floor feels more just wider and better overall. I wish we could have had an option to choose from one interior and another interior, but unfortunately with nightclubs we can only choose one, and we're stuck with that one. But this one does have a unique interior from the standard nightclub. Moving on to the auto shop, it did minimally change the outside. Most of these buildings already had kind of like the spray paint or the name of the actual building, and then it just kind of cleaned up the door because it kind of had to have a shutter door. Some of these had like chain doors or like fences that wouldn't really work. They couldn't roll up like that. But the auto shop, of course, did change the outside only minimally and did add a unique interior that I also love. It's also highly customizable. I think there's like 9 options. There's an option for everyone, and I like to kind of go with the gray vibe, so the cars are the focus, not really the auto shop itself, but it's still pretty cool and it's highly customizable. You can choose what you want. Next up, we have the clubhouse. The clubhouse did not change the outside at all. It did add a unique interior, and there are a couple of clubhouse interior options. I do like the second story one, but that is only available in certain areas that are not really all that great. It is pretty cool, but I also do like the 1-floor clubhouse as well. They both have their unique flair to it, but either do not change their footprint on the map. They only have unique interiors, but it's pretty cool that we could choose. Next up, we have offices. They do not change the outside of the office except for Arcadius. Arcadius did actually change the physical footprint of the map because it added garages. Those garage doors were not there before, and that security guard was not there before. That just got absolutely blasted into oblivion. But that is the only office that actually changed the physical footprint on the map. The Maze Bank, the cheap one that everyone gets if you're like a new player, those do not change the map. And the interior on the inside is the same across all of these. You can choose between like 8 or 9, I believe. But I mean, the actual view does not change, and it is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. At least we could choose the colors and whatnot. Next up, we have stilt houses. Now, I'm including stilt houses and not new apartments because new apartments like the Eclipse Towers penthouse suite doesn't really change all that much. Sure, it adds some colors, but it's essentially the same idea as the original Eclipse Towers apartment, but it's just a little bit more customizable. These stilt houses actually added unique interiors, but they did not change how they looked on the inside. On the outside. This can cause some unique problems to occur if you look through some of these windows. I'll throw some clips here, but it's kind of a weird situation to have because some of these interiors obviously do not fit the outside, and Rockstar didn't expect anyone to see, but I did. Next up, we have the yacht. The yacht does have a permanent spot on the map. You cannot sell it. You cannot, as far as I'm concerned, get rid of the yacht. Maybe you could contact Rockstar support and try to refund it, but I don't know why you would do that. I guess, I don't know. Just buy a shark card at that point. Why are you trying to refund the yacht? I guess you could, but regardless, it has a permanent footprint on the map unless you return it somehow. And the yacht was in the game since 2013, but we do have different yacht options with different colors. And the yacht that was in 2013 was only used in a couple of missions, like the one where Michael goes to save Tracy from the dudes on the yacht. Then they escape on the jet ski into the LS river situation thingy. And that yacht is kind of base. It's pretty basic. It doesn't have much going to it, but the ones we have are highly customizable. Next up, we have Record A Studios. Only minimally changed the outside of the actual building. It basically just added a sticker on the outside of the building, but the actual outside didn't really change all that much. Technically, it did change the footprint, but only minimally, and it does have a pretty cool interior as well. It is the only place that has this interior. The agencies, there is no other studio area. Like whenever you meet Dr. Dre, you come here. There is no other place like it on the map, and it is pretty cool, kind of cool to vibe out. And it of course gave birth to the unique contact missions, where Franklin and Lamar kind of smoke up you and your character, take control of them, and go on some weird adventures indeed. Next up, we have the Freak Shop. The Freak Shop only added spray paint to the outside of the warehouse in which it takes place in. It didn't really change the warehouse, but the inside is unique to the Freak Shop. It's not present anywhere on the map. It has some spray paint and some other stuff that I'm not going to mention, but it is pretty cool, and it does technically have a unique footprint on the map. Next up, we have the agency. All of the agencies did not change the actual footprint of the base building, but the interiors did of course change. Although the interiors are the same across all agencies, the views are different, and it is pretty cool. It has some variety to it. Kind of lets you choose what view you want, but you have to pay. I mean, there's like $500,000 gaps in between agencies, so you may as well just go with the cheapest one, save some money. Next up, we have the arcade. The arcade did actually change on the outside as well as the inside. It added a little bit of a sign. The one that everyone has which is the Video Jadon or Video Gidin. I don't know how you say it, but everyone gets it because it's close to the casino. Allows you to do the casino heist very quickly. If you have the one in Paleto Bay, nobody probably wants to be your friend because no one wants to drive that far every single time you do the heist. But yeah, the arcade did actually change the physical footprint of the map. Next up, we have the salvage yard. The salvage yard only minimally changed the footprint of the map. Basically the similar situation to the arcade. It just added a little bit of a sign, and it did have its own unique interior, but not unique across all properties, unfortunately. It is just the standard interior with 4 slots for cars for you to steal and then sell or export, whatever, and then 2 cars for the tow truck missions that no one does anymore because Rockstar nerfed the tow truck missions out of everything in this game, and I'm not going to talk no further of that. Next up, we have the Vinewood Car Club and the Vinewood Garage. I kind of paired these two because they're pretty similar. I mean, they're both GTA Plus sort of subscription add-on thingies, and they did actually change the footprint of the map in both of them, and they do have their own unique interiors. The Vinewood Garage, of course, has 100 cars slots, which is very nice to have as someone who almost maxed out those slots. Actually, I only have like 20 left, which is absolutely insane. I think I have an addiction. The Vinewood Car Club itself does have unique interior. It's not really anything crazy, but it kind of just shows off the perks and the certain cars that GTA Plus members get, and they're both cool, and they are both new additions. Next up, we have the Gun Van. Now, you may be surprised to see the Gun Van on this list, but it is a physical property on the map. It is always there. It's never gone. The only thing is it's in different places. So technically, I just lied to you. I'm sorry about that. Maybe, I don't know. The Gun Van is in different places, but regardless, it is always on the map. So technically, it's a part of the map now, and no one really goes to it anymore. If you have already bought the guns from the Gun Van, then there's no point to really go to it. It doesn't have any perks, I don't believe. And if it does, it offers like sticky bombs or grenades for slightly cheaper. It's not really worth it. Just use the interaction menu. It's much easier, and you don't have to go out of your way. Next up, we have the Eclipse Boulevard Garage. It was there since day one, but it did not have a unique interior. This one has a unique interior, but only slightly. It's basically the 10-car high-end garage, but instead of that little portion being blocked off by like those glass doors, it's open and it's a little bit more updated. You could sit down there. There's a TV. I think in the regular one there's just like a weight bench, but I'm not too sure about that. It's minimally unique. It's not that unique from a 10-car garage, but it is unique regardless, and the outside did not change. Next up, we have the LS Car Meet. The LS Car Meet did actually change on the outside slightly. It added some NPCs, some lighting, very minimal things, but on the inside is where it truly shines. It has a massive garage that you can see from the inside. I don't think you can actually see inside the garage if someone's in there. I think it's like a preloaded property area. Maybe you can, I'm not too sure actually. But regardless, it is a unique property. It was not there on day one, and it is here now, and it's pretty cool. I go there sometimes, but not too really. The prize ride kind of has very ridiculous specifications. I mean, sometimes you got to win like 5 times first place in a row 5 days, and it's too much in my opinion. Next up we have Pizza This, probably the laziest update of the map that is on this list. All it did was add a sign across the map, not even an interior to go along with it, just a sign. And this is basically, it just allows you to deliver pizza, which is cool I guess, but not really a great source of money from what I hear. I only did it very minimally for clips and whatnot, and I probably don't want to do it at all. And of course, finally, number 30, we have Cayo Perico, or Cayo Perico, however you want to say it. Unfortunately, you do have to take a plane to get to Cayo Perico, a pre-rendered plane and a cutscene. You cannot just fly there, unfortunately. Similar to Ludendorff, although Ludendorff on the map, I think, is actually blacklisted. Like, I don't think you can go there on the map in GTA Online. Maybe you can with mods, but without mods, definitely not. But Cayo Perico is a pretty cool place. It's not very highly explorable if you're not in the heist. If you do want to explore it, I would recommend going into the heist because it allows you to see the most of it. But it's still pretty cool. It's nice that they added a new place to kind of explore. And it does have a lot of kind of reused textures, but it's fine because that wasn't really the main purpose of it. The main purpose was to rob El Rubio, which of course we all do. Honorable mentions go out to the Doomsday Bunker where you chase Avon Hertz. Now, I didn't put this as part of the main 30 because it's only accessible for one mission. And that's not, I mean, I guess it did add a permanent hatch on the map that is there regardless of the mission, but the actual interior itself is not accessible unless you're in the Doomsday Heist Act 3. So that does kind of suck, but it is pretty cool and very expansive with a lot of Easter eggs that have yet to been cracked, and hopefully they have been cracked soon. Next up we have the mine shaft. Now the mine shaft would have actually fit into the main 30, but the thing is I didn't want to make the video uneven by saying 31 new additions, so I kept it 30. That's the only reason why it's an honorable mentions, because it is a permanent area on the map. It does not change, you could access it whenever, and it was not there in 2013. Next up we have the Noose headquarters, which is only accessible during certain missions, similar to the Doomsday Bunker. It is accessible in a lot of missions, I will say that, probably like 4 that I could think of, but it's kind of just an interior. I mean, it's nothing really crazy. I actually don't think it's utilized in story mode. Yeah, it's not in story mode, which is crazy. I swear that was in story mode. That's placebo. But yeah, not in story mode. Pretty cool regardless, but it's kind of just a meh interior. Nothing too crazy. A lot of repeated assets. There are also some apartments that got newer interiors, like I said, like the Eclipse Towers penthouse suite, but I just didn't add it because to me, it's not unique enough. It's basically just a mild reskin of something that is already physically on the map and already has a base property to it, like the regular Eclipse Towers apartment. So I didn't really want to add it to the main 30. Not unique enough, which is why these still homes made the list, because they are unique enough. And that is it, everyone. Hopefully you did enjoy this video, and if you did, please subscribe and leave a like. It really does help out my channel. I wouldn't be saying this if it didn't. Like, trust me, it really does help out my channel. I don't know how else to say it. And thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Byron. If you'd like to be like Byron, all you have to do is subscribe, and then it will be replaced by a button that says join. Click it for more details, and you can become a channel member and a big baller just like him. And see you all later. Have a great day or night or evening, and goodbye.